It was one of those winter nights where the world outside looked like a scene from a snow globe. I had just settled in for what I thought would be a cozy evening at home. The snow fell gently, blanketing everything in a thick layer of white. The streetlights outside cast a warm glow on the snow, creating a beautiful contrast with the darkness of the night. I wrapped myself in a fuzzy blanket, cradling a cup of hot chocolate, feeling snug and safe. My parents had gone out for the evening, leaving me with strict instructions to stay indoors. I was excited about the solitude. It felt liberating to have the house all to myself. As I flipped through the channels, I stumbled upon a classic horror movie. It was the perfect backdrop for a night alone, the flickering screen reflecting shadows across the room. As the movie unfolded, I found myself getting lost in the story, the tension in the air thickening with every suspenseful moment. The wind howled outside, causing the windows to rattle slightly. I shrugged it off, telling myself it was just the weather. After all, it was winter, and this was what winter did, made everything feel a little more eerie. Halfway through the film, I heard a strange noise. It was a soft thud, like something had fallen in the next room. My heart raced, and I paused the movie, straining to listen. The house was silent except for the gentle creaking of the wood settling. I told myself it was probably just a branch hitting the window or something settling in the attic. But still, an unsettling feeling crept into my stomach. I took a deep breath and convinced myself to check it out. Grabbing my phone for a flashlight, I slowly made my way down the hallway, the hardwood floors cold against my bare feet. The shadows danced ominously as I walked, and every creak seemed amplified in the silence. As I approached the living room, I glanced out the window. The snow continued to fall, swirling in the gusty wind, but nothing seemed out of place. I stepped inside the living room and scanned the area, feeling slightly foolish for getting worked up over a noise. Just as I turned to head back to the couch, I heard it again, a soft thud from the kitchen. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. There was no one else in the house, I was completely alone. I debated whether to call my parents, but I didn't want to worry them over nothing. Instead, I tiptoed toward the kitchen, each step feeling heavier than the last. I flicked on the light, and the brightness illuminated the room, casting long shadows against the walls. Everything looked normal, the table was set, the fridge hummed softly, and the dishes sat neatly in the sink. I let out a sigh of relief, chalking it up to my imagination running wild. But just as I turned to leave, I noticed something out of the corner of my eye, a small figure moving in the window. My breath caught in my throat. I rushed to the window, peering outside. The snow fell relentlessly, but I saw nothing unusual, just the dim outline of my backyard. I shook my head, trying to dispel the anxiety that clung to me like a heavy fog. "It's just the movie," I muttered to myself, heading back to the living room. I settled onto the couch, grabbing the remote to resume the film, but a chill swept through the room. It felt different, as if the atmosphere had shifted. Trying to shake the feeling, I pressed play. The film continued, but I found it hard to focus on the screen. My eyes kept darting to the hallway, half expecting to see a shadow flicker at the edge of my vision. I decided to distract myself further, picking up my phone to scroll through social media. Suddenly, my phone buzzed with a notification, startling me. It was a message from my friend. "Hey! You still at home? It's snowing hard outside." I quickly typed back, reassuring her I was fine. As I sent the message, I felt a sudden draft in the room. I glanced at the window, the curtains fluttering slightly. I walked over to close them, and as I did, I caught a glimpse of movement again, a shadow crossing my backyard. My heart raced anew, and I pressed my face closer to the glass. Was someone out there? I squinted into the darkness, straining to see. Then I saw it, a figure standing just beyond the tree line, half hidden in the snow. My breath hitched in my throat. Who could it be? I thought about calling my parents again, but the thought of alarming them was enough to hold me back. Instead, I grabbed the phone and dialed 911, my fingers trembling. "What's your emergency?" the dispatcher's calm voice came through. I hesitated, unsure if I was overreacting. I think someone is in my backyard, I whispered, my voice barely audible. Can you see them now? She asked. I peered through the window again, but the figure was gone. My heart sank, a mix of fear and embarrassment washing over me. No, they were just there. I don't know. Suddenly, the lights flickered, plunging the room into darkness. The power went out, and I felt a wave of panic wash over me. I fumbled for my phone's flashlight, shining it into the corners of the room. My mind raced. Was this a prank? Stay on the line, the dispatcher instructed, her voice steady. Can you lock the doors? I quickly moved to secure the front door, feeling exposed and vulnerable in the eerie silence that enveloped the house. Once I locked the door, I returned to the living room, still on the line. The snowstorm raged outside, and the wind howled like a living creature. It was so loud, I could hardly hear the dispatcher's voice. I took a deep breath, trying to keep calm. Can you send someone? I asked, my voice trembling. Help is on the way. Just stay quiet and stay inside, she said. I nodded, even though I knew she couldn't see me. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from the back of the house. I jumped, my heart racing again. It sounded like something had fallen over. I turned the flashlight towards the kitchen and moved cautiously, every fiber of my being screaming at me to run. As I reached the kitchen door, I felt the cold draft again, the air heavy with tension. I slowly pushed the door open, shining the light around the room. My eyes darted to every corner, every shadow. I didn't want to be caught off guard. Then, I saw it. The back door was slightly ajar, swinging gently with the wind. My stomach dropped. I was sure I had locked it. Panic surged through me as I quickly stepped forward to close it. Just as I did, I heard the soft sound of laughter behind me. I spun around, heart racing. There, standing in the shadows of the hallway, was a figure. I couldn't see their face, but I could see they were watching me, a smile playing on their lips. Why are you so scared? The voice said, smooth and taunting. I gasped, the flashlight trembling in my hand. Who are you? What do you want? Just wanted to see if you were home alone, the figure said, stepping into the light. My heart sank as I recognized the familiar features of a friend, but the gleam in their eyes felt off, unsettling. What are you doing? I shouted, a mix of relief and anger washing over me. You scared me half to death. They chuckled, taking a step closer. Just thought it would be fun to check on you. I heard you were home alone. What's the matter? Scared of the dark? I felt a wave of anger flush over me, but it was mixed with the lingering fear of the evening. You shouldn't do that. I thought someone was actually trying to break in. Relax, it was just a joke, they said, waving a hand dismissively. But the tension in the air hadn't lifted, it still felt heavy and strange. As we stood there, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was still off. The night outside continued to howl, and the snow fell steadily, but a sense of dread lingered in the pit of my stomach. I wanted to believe it was all just a prank, but I also couldn't shake the feeling that the real terror of the night was just beginning.